volunteer engagement as a skill set, as a profession, and as a passion, as it is for me, like I hope it is for you. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to read through the comments here, but I would love for you to put feedback, questions, comments, concerns in the chat. Feel free to come off mute. We've got, looks like just about 14 minutes, and I would love to just continue this dialogue. It's a topic, obviously you can tell that I'm very passionate about, and I think it's really been the key to our success here at American Cancer Society for the past 100, and help me out here, Michelle, I think 111 years now. So reading in the chat, Michelle, how do you screen a volunteer who wants to be a leadership volunteer but may have a hidden agenda? What a spicy question, Michelle. All the chili pepper emojis for you. I really think it's about, like we talked about, setting those clear expectations, and having that partnership agreement, right? Making sure that we are aligning what we need out of a volunteer with what that volunteer wants to give us. And so clear expectations, that clear idea of a partnership agreement, that this is what we need and want and expect from you. And if that doesn't happen, if we see this going a different way, we may have to take this partnership in a different direction. So I hope that that's helpful, but please feel free to add more if you have additional feedback. Yeah, Kyla here had some good suggestions, asking the right questions to see what their motivation is to volunteer. Again, clear expectations, clearly defined. Give them a copy of that. Again, consider a partnership agreement, an actual piece of paper where you're going to spell out some of these things. Shelly, I love, yeah, constant evaluation is so important. I would say evaluating your volunteer program as a whole, and also evaluating your volunteers that are serving on that program. Are they happy? Are they fulfilled? Are they doing what we need to do? And it's okay to change course if we decide that that's not the case. And then Shelly says, sure, Scarlett is your favorite. Did y'all notice? All of our volunteers are my very most favorites. I'm sure you feel that way about your own volunteers. What else? What else can we talk about? How else can I help you elevate the work of your missions?
So, Kathy, thank you so much. I have just like all of these series, but yours in particular, like I have a new inspiration to want to do even more than before. I loved what you said about kind of toward earlier in the presentation. The staff and the volunteers have different roles, but equal responsibilities. And I think that's something that may get lost in translation when maybe we talk to upper management who may not know as much about, the volunteer partnership as we do. So do you have any suggestions on, especially that tier level of volunteer leader and then the mid-level and then the other just, volunteer workforce, how we can really get more buy-in from management who may be a little timid to having volunteers step up into leadership roles? Any kind of advice to get that buy-in?
I think it's a great question, Sydney. Yeah. And, I would really tie it back to this idea of 1 to 419. Like, it doesn't matter. Maybe you don't have 419 volunteers at your organization or that you are responsible for. Maybe it's 10, but what if it could be 20? What if it could be 30, right? What if we had a great volunteer that was a professional, that was trusted, that had been around with us forever, that knew our mission backwards and forwards, and we could empower them. And I love that word, empower. We are giving them the power, right, to step up their volunteerism. And then rather than your organization having 10 volunteers that you're managing yourself, what if you are managing 10 and then this great volunteer is managing 10? You've doubled your impact. I mean, I think it just makes good business sense. And so I think that's really how we can sell this to upper management, is that, again, together everyone achieves more, right? That idea of team. And so it's not to say that, you take the first volunteer that walks in the door and elevate them to a leadership position. But I bet every one of you, has that one volunteer that if everything's falling apart, you could call this person and they would help you fix it. So consider, how can you empower them? How can you elevate their work to serve even more, to elevate your mission, and to really transform the work that your organization does? And then it's a numbers game, right? Your boss isn't going to tell you, well, we can only serve X number of clients now. And you say, look, I've got a way to double that and it's not going to cost us anything. They would be crazy to say no. And so I think really being able to tell that story and empower those volunteers to take ownership of part of that mission. And I think volunteers will surprise you. I think they want to do that. whatever organization you're in, you know how passionate and committed your volunteers are. They want to see your mission succeed. And so if they have the skills and ability and affinity to do that, I think it only makes sense for them. Yeah, Wesley, I would be delighted to provide a copy of this PowerPoint to Sydney for the follow-up as well. What else?
Thank you, Kathy. I'll definitely send that out to everyone, likely tomorrow, kind of wrap up toward the end of the day. You also mentioned that you do an annual survey to your volunteers. Is that something that you may be able to share as well, or is that more of an internal document? I don't want to get you in trouble.
I don't think that it's an internal document. It's very specific to us, so I don't know that it would really help people. I will say the two kind of drivers that we look at, we also do a staff engagement survey. So I don't know if your organizations are doing that, but we model that very similarly on our staff survey. And we have what we call a volunteer engagement index that is the likelihood to continue volunteering and oh my gosh, Michelle, tell me what the other one is. Likelihood to continue and likeliness to recommend, I think. So we take an average of both of those metrics on the volunteer side and on the staff side. So that's kind of what our Venn diagram is. So, I mean, I could give it to you. I think it's pretty much exactly what you're thinking about. It is a little bit more specific to like our specific volunteer programs. But I would say if you do have some sort of staff engagement survey, it may make sense to sort of copy what you're doing there. And at least you're talking kind of apples to apples with some of those indexes. But truly, I'm going to put up my contact information. I'm happy to talk more about, I could talk to anybody all day long about this. So if you want to talk more about, surveying your volunteers, Michelle and I both are happy to do that. Please just get in touch.
Wonderful. Any other questions? I have a small update to give to the group, but I want to make sure if anybody has any questions that we're able to ask those to Kathy as we have her. Hearing and seeing none. Kathy, if you don't mind staying on for the other 8 minutes, sure. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, do just a few updates, and then we'll come on back to Kathy. So let me... The fun part is trying to determine which side of my dual screens are they actually going to show today. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just a few updates I wanted to share since this is our last session this year. I'm very excited to let everybody know that Tennessee has started a CVA scholarship fund. So the CVA, you all have heard me talk about the CVA a million times. We do the study group and all that good stuff, but it's your Certified Volunteer Administrator credential. It's one of the only kind of internationally recognized credentials for volunteer engagement. So we do have a scholarship that's been developed. The next testing window is actually coming up in October. So the scholarship is going to be coming up open October 21st for the first window in 2025, which is April 1st to the 14th. There's a couple requirements you have to do, like you have to attend the study session. Not only do we want to help you pay for the exam, but we also want to make sure you're successful in your attempt at taking the exam, right? So instead of studying on your own, get together with us and we'll help you out with some tips and tricks on how to be more successful in passing that exam. The exam isn't cheap. It's around $400 right now. It could possibly increase. I don't know for sure. You kind of got to wait until the next year pops up. But that was one of the big things that we saw as a barrier to a lot of individuals who wanted to get their CVA is that they really couldn't afford it, or they're in such a small nonprofit organization that they don't have the extra money to do the continuing ed or something along those lines. So we want to help in part help pay for that scholar or the exam fee. And then you can see all the other requirements. But for more information, I'll have a link here. I'm going to send this PowerPoint out to everyone as well. So we're partnered with the Friends of Volunteer Tennessee to kind of implement the scholarship program. So if you're interested in looking to get your CVA next year, feel free to reach out to me. I'll get you on the list and we'll help you out. Do you have to live in Tennessee to join Volunteer Tennessee? So for the scholarship fund, yes, you have to work in Tennessee, but not necessarily live in Tennessee because we have a lot, we're surrounded like by every other state, I feel like in the Southeast. But one of the credentials to get the scholarship is you have to work in the state of Tennessee. If you're interested in trying to get a scholarship in your state, feel free to reach out. We're happy to kind of tell you our process and see if we can get this going, nationwide, worldwide, sky's the limit. The other thing I want to let you all know is February 16th to the 18th is the Tennessee Conference on Volunteerism and Service Learning. This is a really great in-person conference. It's done through Volunteer Tennessee. It brings together so many people from mainly Tennessee, but we have some people from out of the state come too and talk a lot about different volunteerism and service learning across the state. So it's a really great conference. If that's something you're interested in, just kind of mark your calendars, and as more information about registration and things of that nature come out, I will be sure to pass that along to the group. Every year, the Governor's Volunteer Star Awards happen during the Volunteerism and Service Learning Conference. Mouthful. But basically what the Governor's Volunteer Star Awards is they give an award for volunteers in all 95 counties of Tennessee. So if you have a volunteer that is just a rock star, I know they're all your, 100% favorites, just like Kathy said. But if there's one that you'd really like to nominate to get a Governor Star Award, there's links in here that you can find who your county coordinator is and get those nominations in. I believe selections are made November 15th. So those deadlines are probably coming up here pretty quickly, either end of September or October. It depends on the county. So be sure to do your research and get your volunteers nominated. Here at the Department of Disability and Aging, we have the Technology Trailblazer Award. So this can be for individuals or groups who have really used technology to improve the lives of the people that we serve. So this is something new. We haven't done this when we were a commission, and now we're kind of working with a full department, and it's a new award. So I know a lot of us have worked with maybe enabling tech. We have quite a few senior centers on here. If you're looking to expand your technology and you've done something really great in your community, you or your organization or maybe a volunteer who's really helped out and taught, the technology classes or something along those lines, you may want to nominate them for a Trailblazer Award. Tomorrow, when I send out the information, I'm also going to start planning the next series earlier than what I have in the past. For whatever reason, it just hasn't clicked in my brain, or I've just been so busy with other things that I'm going to include the 2025 Volunteer Engagement Series Planning Survey so I can get your all's feedback on what kind of topics you want next year. We have our series going from January to September, as long as that's what you all want to continue to do. Of course, the specific topics, so I can find even more amazing speakers like Kathy to come and talk to us, so you don't just listen to me rattle on and on, because I'm like Kathy and I can talk to you all day, every day about volunteer stuff. So I will send you all that link if you don't mind filling out that quick survey. Maybe it'll take you 5 minutes, probably not even that long. But I'd love to get your responses by Friday, October 18th, so I can start getting those speakers lined up and get that calendar out by the end of the year. And with that, this is our last session. It's crazy that 2024 has gone by in the blink of an eye, but we will see you all in 2025. And in between, now and the next series, please feel free to give me a call, contact me, email me. Let me know how I can help support you all in improving your volunteer engagement programs. This is my favorite part of the job. I wear multiple hats, but this is the one that I would wear permanently if I was given the choice. So use me and abuse me is what I always say. So with that, I know we have about a minute left, but if anybody has any follow-up questions for me or Kathy, now's the time. We'd love to chat. I'll go ahead and also stop the recording, so that way if anybody has any questions that they don't want recorded, we can talk about that offline as well. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next year.
Thanks so much, Sydney.
Thank you, Kathy. That was